Welcome back to Global War 1939. We just finished off round three. So let's take a look here. So for the Germans, just like the last round, not really a lot of action. Just another purchase phase, another build-up. So right now they got the bulk of their forces in Romania ready to strike. They got 27 infantry, 1 SS infantry, three medium tanks, 3 heavy artillery, 5 artillery, 2 SS mechs, and 1 regular mech. Now they do have follow-up force, a couple of SS mechs, artillery, airborne, SS infantry, 3 more infantry. And then in Hungary, they got 10 medium tanks, 3 regular mechanized, and 2 Mark IVs. So the Germans are pretty much ready. Maybe one more turn before they jump into the Soviet Union. Now the Russians did take out the big stack infantry up north in Finland. So the Finnish are just reduced down to 1 infantry. That battle didn't last quite. It went on about 5 rounds of combat before it was resolved. The Russians did suffer all their infantry corps, which was kind of surprising. As I was calculating this out, I figured the Russians would survive with a couple more infantry than what they did. They just got 1 KV2, 1 artillery, and 3 medium tanks, or light tanks, sorry. So that's pretty much half of the Russian tank corps, as outside of in Finland, they just got 2 KV2s, 2 light tanks, and 3 medium tanks. So now the Germans do have a couple transports. They have a decision to make. Do they leave Finland to fall to the Russians? Because if the Germans don't counter, then the Russians will certainly swallow up the rest of Finland. So utilize the transports, take a couple of infantry here, a couple of Mark IVs. They do have airborne within range. So they get about 6 units in there. Their air force is in Western Germany, so they get their a bunch of planes there if they choose. So that would definitely be a big blow to the Soviet ability to wage war, losing half your tanks all in one swoop. So we'll see how all that plays out. And then, like, outside of these tanks, they don't really have anything left, because they've been focusing really much on the south. So if this falls, then the north is in big trouble, kind of negating the whole point of fighting Finland to prevent the Germans from attacking from the north. So we will see. For the Italians, they did go ahead and take out Gibraltar. They utilized a couple of their transports and a couple of bombardments from their battleship and cruiser. So they got a medium tank, 3 infantry. More likely, they'll leave the 3 infantry behind for a garrison. Take the tank, come back to Italy, pick up a couple more infantry, and probably come down to this region. They did bring down an infantry via their air transport in the non-combat phase. So they could go after Morocco even further down. It's only $1 or $2, but for the Italians, an extra couple dollars here and there that they can pick up certainly makes a difference, especially with their economy. They did go ahead and purchase another destroyer, so slowly building up the Navy. They're going to probably the next couple turns start or think about investing in a second battleship, especially if they're planning on going out in the Atlantic. They're going to want some more heavy hitters. And then they got the bulk of their force mustered up in Alexandria. They got a medium tank, a couple of artillery, light tanks, some more artillery. They got most of their air force here, a couple of elite infantry, and about 8 regular infantry. Now, they did go ahead and purchase themselves a medium tank, give them some more firepower. The Italians typically don't go deep into getting a big armor division. as they are quite expensive, especially for what you get. Certainly a lot more expensive than the German armors. The Italians and the Japanese are probably the most expensive tanks in the game. So maybe one or two more wouldn't hurt, but definitely got to focus on cheaper units. For the British here in Africa, South Africans built themselves mechanized infantry. They did utilize some of their transports, trying to get as many units up to Cairo as possible. So what's sitting in Cairo right now, we got 5 infantry, a couple commandos, medium tanks, heavy artillery, light tank, and a Anzac unit. This fleet here is the starting fleet for FEC. Typically, the last couple games, I've been keeping them here, trying to put some pressure on the Japanese fleet. Typically, the Japanese just come in and destroy them without any competition. So change things up, back them out, see if they can't maybe build up a couple more or force the Japanese way out of position to come hunt them down or just ignore them. So we'll see. For the British and the Americans, Canada, they did get rid of the German sub that was up here. The German sub knew it couldn't escape from the Atlantic, so it did go up to the convoy box, which the Canadian convoy box. The British did come in with 2 destroyers and remove it. They got all their transports now off the coast of Canada. They'll be able to bring over all those units in one turn. They did purchase, invest more into their Navy, buying themselves another 4 destroyers. So most of their money went into their Navy. A couple did go in their Army to help supply Cairo. But as of right now, the British in the Atlantic, they're just waiting for the Americans, which the Americans in this game have been rolling extremely well. So right now, they are sitting, so that's 50, that'll be 80. They're only 3 away from 80. So the next die roll, I would suspect the Americans will be joining the war voluntarily. So this might have to be an opportunity, or the Japanese are probably going to start attacking the Americans now, because if not, they're going to be in the war regardless. So the Americans here just put some more money into transports, a couple more units on the mainland. They do have a guy down here ready to activate Mexico, sorry, and they will be sending down to activate Brazil, get themselves another $4. But that'll be down the road. As for the Chinese, they did get removed from these 2 Japanese territories. Japan came in quite authority, utilizing their Air Force and removing the Chinese pieces that were there. They did lose all 3 of their cavalry units. So the Americans, seeing that the only real units that they had were defensive capabilities, so the Americans did lend lease a light tank. So I would suspect the Americans will probably, or they should, lend lease a tank every turn. As long as this road's open, the Chinese should be getting an artillery to take advantage of any offensive opportunities that do arise. Because for the most part, they're just a defensive army, but they do have quite a number of infantry. This number of infantry is no joke, and the Japanese do have to be careful of when or how they attack. So for example, if they attack here, then they'll just be enveloped with the surrounding territories. So when the Japanese do come in, they really got to attack 2, maybe 3 territories at a time. So think about attacking the entire wall of infantry all at once. As for the Japanese, they did take out this territory here. They got 1 left, and they'll have the bulk of these islands. Just got to take out all of New Guinea, Philippines, and Guam. So certainly, this turn, this might be a target of opportunity this turn as well. Take out New Guinea, probably the turn after. They do need to recapture the one that they lost. So certainly still more work here to do. The battle for these islands is not over yet. They did push back, or the Anzac fleet was sitting here. They were thinking about taking out this island. However, the Japanese had a fleet here. They had a bunch of ships here and on their mainland. And with the capability of their seaports, all three of these smaller fleets would have been able to hit this all at once. So the Anzac seen that and kind of backed out a little bit. They did go ahead and purchase a destroyer and a cruiser to supplement their navy. The Japanese subs came down, starting to do a couple convoys. The Japanese do want to get rid of this fleet to start convoying this box, because FEC doesn't really, they have a fair amount of money, but if you can start taking out these convoy boxes, that really cuts into what they're able to produce or the quality of units that they can produce. If you can limit them, say they can only build infantry because that's all they can afford, then just like the Chinese, they go on to a defensive war as opposed to offensive, which only benefits the Japanese because then they can dictate the play, right? And if you're any kind of war, no matter what side you're on, you want to be the ones dictating the course of the war and how it's going. As for the Communist China, they did just bolster up. They didn't really advance any further into Japanese-held territory, just bolstering up, moved up their artillery, looking for a chances of opportunity. The Japanese are definitely going to have to take care of this. Now, the Communist China, they do have $6 in their account. So instead of getting one infantry turn, this turn, this will probably be the only turn they'll be able to get two. Certainly. And the Americans over in the Pacific, they got a couple more transports. So they got 4 here total. So they'll be able to utilize this. They certainly need more infantry units. On turn 1, they did have infantry here, but they used their starting transports to go pull them back, as they'll be more of an asset in Hawaii than these two islands here. But if they can, start building up a couple more infantry, marines, artillery, start challenging the Japanese for these islands. All right, well, thank you for watching, and this is probably be the last, turn 2 and 3 are usually null turns. Not a lot's going on, just a small battle here or there. But now the Americans are going to be joining. Russia should be being attacked. Maybe not this turn, but maybe the turn after. So things are going to heat up pretty quickly. So we'll see the decisions and the fallbacks of every nation as this game unfolds. All right, well, thank you for watching, and you have yourself a great day.